ever feel like you're on a journey? Not just physically, like getting from point A to point B, but a real journey of the soul.
Oh, yeah.
Well, today we're diving into Hajj, that pilgrimage to Mecca.
Right.
And trust me, even if you're not Muslim, even if you've never even thought about going on Hajj, this journey, it resonates with everyone.
Yeah, it really does. There's something in there for everybody.
That's about, I don't know, shedding the old you,
Yeah.
embracing something new, finding that deep connection to something bigger than yourself.
And what's fascinating is that this Hajj thing, it's not just some, modern day thing. This goes way back.
Yeah.
It's rooted in ancient history. It's weaving together these stories of faith, resilience, stories that have echoed through the centuries.
Okay, so let's unpack this a little bit. We know that Hajj is one of the 5 pillars of Islam. It's a journey that every able-bodied Muslim who can afford it should undertake at least once in their life.
Right.
But what's the WHY behind the what? What's the story that makes this so fascinating, even for someone like me who's never even, stood in the Grand Mosque?
It all goes back to a story that, well, you might have heard it before, the story of Prophet Ibrahim, or Abraham as he's known in other faiths.
Right, right.
And his journey, his trials, his unwavering faith, that's really the foundation that Hajj is built on.
So we're talking about a figure that a lot of people are going to know from different religions.
Yeah.
So there's a universal thread here.
Absolutely.
Something that kind of speaks to humanity as a whole.
Exactly. And one of the most powerful stories in this whole Hajj narrative involves Ibrahim's wife, Hajar, and their son, Ismail. Okay, so try to imagine this. You're left alone in a barren desert. You're a mother. You're desperate to find water for your baby. You're running between these 2 hills, Safa and Marwa.
Right.
Your hope is just dwindling with every desperate pass.
It's like a primal fear almost, like a fight for survival.
Oh, yeah, it's deep within us. But then, of course, comes a miracle.
Right. So what happens?
The well of Zamzam, it just springs forth. It's like a testament to her unwavering faith and resilience.
Wow.
And this very spot, the spot where that happened, becomes a key location in the rituals of Hajj. It's like a physical reminder of that struggle and then ultimately that reward.
It's like the journey itself is etched into the landscape.
Yeah.
With each location holding another piece of the story.
Like a living story.
But okay, how do we go from this ancient tale to the Hajj that we see today?
So centuries later, Prophet Muhammad, he revives and purifies the original intent of Hajj. He makes it about the worship of one God, Allah.
Okay.
He incorporates the rituals that, we see today, each step carefully designed to kind of echo those themes: sacrifice, surrender, and then ultimately connection.
So it's not just about going through the motions.
No.
It's about understanding what it all means.
You got to peel back those layers.
Yeah. It's like a dance almost, where every step tells a story.
It is. That's a great way to put it. Yeah. And that dance begins with ihram. It's a state of spiritual purity that's symbolized by wearing simple white garments.
Okay.
Think of it like a spiritual uniform,
Yeah.
You're shedding all those outward markers of identity that we tend to cling to.
And no fancy clothes, no status symbols, nothing like that.
No, none of that. Just everyone on an equal footing, ready to embark on this transformative journey.
I love that.
And that sense of equality, it's really further emphasized by the next ritual, the tawaf. Okay, so picture this. Millions of people circling the Kaaba.
Okay.
It's this cube-shaped structure. It's draped in black cloth. It's in the heart of the Grand Mosque.
Right.
7 times they circle, counterclockwise. Their movements are just this mesmerizing symbol of unity.
Okay, I gotta ask. The Kaaba itself, what's so important about it? What is everyone circling around?
Muslims consider the Kaaba to be the house of Allah, built by Prophet Ibrahim as a symbol of monotheism. Oh. So it represents the one true God. And that act of circling it, the tawaf, it reinforces that idea of oneness.
Right.
Focusing on a single center.
It's like, in life when you're drawn to one central point. It could be a belief, a goal, even a person.
Sure.
There's a real power in that.
Oh, absolutely. And, as we go through the rituals of Hajj, we see that theme, the focus, the surrender. It plays out in these incredibly powerful ways.
Yeah.
Remember Hajar searching for water?
Yeah.
That's echoed in the next ritual, the Sai.
Oh, I'm curious about this one. What happens there?
So pilgrims walk back and forth 7 times between those 2 hills, Safa and Marwa.
Right.
Retracing Hajar's steps. And it's not, just symbolic. It's physically demanding. pushes people to their limits.
It's just like embodying that desperation.
Yeah.
That relentless search for something vital, that resilience.
It is. It's a powerful reminder that even when we're faced with what feels like overwhelming challenges, perseverance and faith can lead us to, unexpected solutions.
I'm seeing how each step builds upon the last, creating this really layered experience. It's not just a religious to-do list.
No.
It's about confronting your limitations, pushing beyond your comfort zone, physically and spiritually.
And that's just the beginning.
Oh, wow.
There's still more powerful rituals ahead, each one designed to evoke a specific emotion, to give you a deeper understanding of yourself and your connection to, something greater.
Okay, I'm ready for the next leg of the journey.
Yeah.
What comes after this test of endurance? Where does this path lead us?
So, welcome back to our deep dive into Hajj. We've really just scratched the surface of this incredible journey. And next up is a ritual that, well, it might be one of the most emotionally charged moments of the whole thing, the Day of Arafat.
The Day of Arafat. It sounds pretty intense. Can you paint a picture for us? What happens on this day?
Okay, so imagine this. Millions of pilgrims, all dressed in those simple white garments, they're gathered on this vast plain. They're standing shoulder to shoulder beneath the open sky. And they spend the entire day in prayer and reflection, seeking forgiveness from Allah, seeking His mercy.
Wow, the scale of that, it's kind of hard to even comprehend.
Yeah.
It must feel like the entire world has just converged on this one spot.
Yeah, it's really something. It's a truly humbling experience. And it's considered the most important day of Hajj. It's believed that on this day, prayers are answered, sins can be forgiven.
There's real vulnerability in that, isn't there?
Yeah.
Just standing before something greater than yourself, acknowledging your flaws and seeking forgiveness.
Absolutely. And it's not just about individual reflection either. It's about acknowledging our shared humanity, recognizing that we're all in this together, regardless of our backgrounds or beliefs.
Yeah, that sense of unity must be incredible, especially after, the physical and emotional challenges of the earlier rituals. It's like reaching a peak.
Yeah.
A moment of collective, catharsis or something.
You could say that. It's a powerful culmination of everything the pilgrims have experienced up to that point.
Right.
But the journey's not over yet.
Oh, okay.
There's still one ritual ahead that often raises questions, even among those who are familiar with Hajj. The stoning of the Jamarat.
You know what? I've always been curious about this one. I've seen pictures, pilgrims throwing pebbles at these large pillars.
Yeah.
And it looks, I don't know, almost aggressive.
Yeah.
A little confusing out of context. What's the deeper meaning behind this act?
It's not about anger or violence. It's about symbolically rejecting temptation, resisting those inner demons that we all struggle with.
Okay.
The three pillars, they represent the devil. And by throwing stones, the pilgrims are casting away their negative desires, their attachments to things that hinder their spiritual growth.
So it's more of an internal battle
Yeah.
than an external one. It's about recognizing the things that hold us back, the temptations that keep us from, becoming our best selves.
Right, exactly. Think about it. What are the devils we face in our modern lives? What are those temptations that prevent us from achieving our goals, from living fulfilling lives, from connecting with others in a meaningful way?
That's a really interesting way to frame it. It's
Yeah.
like we all have our own Jamarat to confront, our own, metaphorical stones to throw.
Yeah, that's good.
It makes this ancient ritual feel surprisingly relevant, even if you've never actually gone on Hajj.
It does, doesn't it? And just as each step of Hajj builds on the last, the stoning of the Jamarat, well, it prepares the pilgrims for the final stage of their journey, Eid al-Adha, the festival of sacrifice.
Okay, that's a celebration I've heard of, but I'm a little fuzzy on the details. How does sacrifice tie into the overall narrative of Hajj?
Remember the story of Prophet Ibrahim being commanded by God to sacrifice his son Ismail as a way of showing ultimate submission?
Oh, right. Yeah.
It's a story of profound faith and trust, and it's really central to the meaning of Eid al-Adha.
Wait, wasn't there a ram involved?
Yeah. Yes.
I'm pretty sure that the son didn't actually, get sacrificed.
You're right. At the very last moment, God intervened and provided a ram to be sacrificed in Ismail's place.
Right.
It's really a testament to Ibrahim's, his unwavering devotion, his willingness to surrender to a higher power, even when faced with, an unimaginable test.
It's such a powerful story. It speaks to that universal struggle between what we desire and what we're called to do.
Yeah.
The sacrifices we're sometimes asked to make in the name of something greater.
Exactly. And during Eid al-Adha, Muslims around the world commemorate this event. They sacrifice an animal, usually a sheep or a goat, and they share the meat with family, friends, and the needy. It's a really tangible act of generosity, a reminder that true faith often involves giving of ourselves, even when it's difficult.
Yeah, it's like saying, I'm willing to let go of something precious to me, to put my trust in something bigger than myself.
Yeah. It's about acknowledging that sometimes true growth comes from sacrifice.
I love that. So we've gone from that physical challenge of the Sai to the emotional intensity of the Day of Arafat, and now this active symbolic sacrifice. It's clear that Hajj is designed to push pilgrims to their limits, to strip away the superficial, and to ultimately connect them to something profound.
We've only just begun to explore the deeper implications of this journey. The transformation pilgrims undergo during Hajj is often, it's profound. It leads to this sense of self-purification, humility, unity that extends, it goes way beyond the pilgrimage itself.
Okay, I'm ready to dive into that.
Yeah.
How does Hajj change people? What are the lasting effects of this experience? What did it all mean for them once they return to their everyday lives? So welcome back to our deep dive into Hajj. We've journeyed through ancient stories, powerful rituals, and even touched on those modern-day challenges of managing a pilgrimage of millions. But let's bring it all home. We've explored the what and the how W, but what about the WHY of Hajj? What does this journey mean for those of us who might never personally experience it? What can we take away from this ancient tradition? Like, how can we apply it to our own lives?
Well, I think on one level, understanding Hajj, it gives us a really fascinating look into the heart of Islam,
Yeah.
It shows us those core beliefs, the historical narratives, the cultural practices that shape the lives of, over 1 billion people around the world.
So even if you're not Muslim, learning about Hajj, it's like a way to connect with a culture and a faith that might feel very distant.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or unfamiliar. It's about expanding our understanding of the world, recognizing the beauty in, all these different ways of life.
Exactly. But even beyond the specifics of, any one religion, Hajj speaks to something universal within us.
Okay, like what?
That yearning for connection, the desire to be better versions of ourselves, that inherent human struggle to transcend our limitations. Those are themes that I think resonate with everyone, regardless of background.
It's like we were saying earlier, we all have our own inner Kaaba to circle.
Yeah.
Our own personal mountains to climb.
Exactly. And the challenges that the pilgrims face during Hajj, the physical endurance, the emotional vulnerability, that constant striving for spiritual growth.
Right.
I mean, those mirror the challenges that we all encounter in our own lives, even if they take different forms.
So how does Hajj actually change people? What are those lasting effects?
Well, one of the most profound transformations is this sense of self-purification.
Okay.
Think back to that ritual of Aram, shedding those outward markers of identity.
Right.
It's about stripping away the superficial, the ego, the things that we cling to that ultimately don't define us.
It's like hitting the reset button, realizing that beneath all those layers we build up, the clothes, the possessions, the titles, there's a core self there that's worthy, and whole.
And that realization often comes with a very deep sense of humility. Imagine being surrounded by millions of people, all wearing those same simple garments, all focused on the same goal.
Yeah.
It erases the distinctions that we often make between ourselves, Wealth, status, background, all of that melts away. It reveals our shared humanity.
It's like standing before a mirror, but you're seeing, not just yourself, but a reflection of everyone around you.
Exactly. And from that humbling experience arises this really powerful sense of unity. The idea that despite our differences, we're all interconnected, part of a larger human family. It's something that we often lose sight of in our everyday lives. But during Hajj, it becomes so real.
It's interesting how all these themes, the purification, the humility, the unity, it's like they all build on each other.
They do.
You shed the superficial, you recognize your place in this larger whole, and then you emerge with this renewed sense of connection to yourself and to others.
And that connection, that's what often stays with pilgrims long after they return home. It's a shift in perspective, a deeper understanding of their place in the world, and a renewed commitment to living a life, of purpose and meaning.
So even if we never set foot in Mecca, the lessons of Hajj, I mean, they can still inspire us. They give us a framework for thinking about our own personal journeys, our own struggles and triumphs.
Absolutely. Think about, Hajar searching for water, the sigh. We all have our own metaphorical deserts to cross, right? Our own moments of desperation where we're searching for that solution, that way forward.
Right.
The sigh reminds us to keep moving, keep seeking, keep trusting that even in the, most barren landscapes, hope can spring forth.
And what about the stoning of the Jamarat? We talked about how it represents, rejecting temptation, those inner devils that hold us back. What would you say to someone who's struggling with their own Jamarat right now?
I'd say acknowledge those temptations, name them, and then consciously choose to cast them aside. It's an ongoing process. It's a daily practice of choosing the path that leads to growth and to fulfillment.
So it's not about, being perfect. It's about striving.
Yeah.
Making conscious choices that align with our values, with our aspirations.
Exactly. And just as the pilgrims celebrate Eid al-Adha, the festival of sacrifice, we too can find joy in letting go of things that no longer serve us.
Right.
It's about creating that space for, new growth, new possibilities.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Hajj, I'm left with this sense of awe.
Yeah.
It's this ancient ritual, rich in history and symbolism, and yet it speaks to something timeless, something universal within us.
It's been a fascinating journey, hasn't it?
It really has. And for you listening out there, as you go about your day, we invite you to carry these insights with you. Maybe you see echoes of the Hajj rituals in your own life, in your own, struggles and your own triumphs. Or maybe it's just sparked a deeper curiosity about the world, about the power of faith, and that enduring human desire for connection. Whatever your takeaway, we hope this deep dive has left you with a sense of wonder and a renewed appreciation for the beauty and the complexity of the human experience. Thanks for joining us.
لبيك يا مالكنا لبيك يا خالقنا لبيك يا رب أحد يا رب صمد يا رب أبد لبيك